John Wayne hated these 5 movies so much he called one of them the most un-American thing I've ever seen, slammed another for being disgusting, and tried to stop a third from even being made. High Noon is always near the top of the list when people talk about the greatest westerns. What's less known is that John Wayne was originally offered the role of Marshal Will Kane. The script was by Carl Foreman, who was known for his far-left politics. Wayne read it, hated what he saw, and turned it down immediately. To Wayne, High Noon was basically an attack on small-town America. He called it the most un-American thing I've ever seen in my whole life. The whole idea that a town would just turn its back on a sheriff because they're scared, he just couldn't stand it. A whole city of people that have come across the plains and suffered all kinds of hardships are suddenly afraid to help out a sheriff because 3 men are coming into the town that are tough. "I don't think that ever happens in the United States," he said. Wayne especially hated the ending where Cooper throws down his badge, steps on it, and walks away. He saw it as disrespectful and un-American. Wayne never got over how High Noon turned out, but he was firmly in the minority. The movie became a favorite for Presidents Eisenhower, Truman, and Clinton, scored 7 Oscar nominations, and won 4, including Best Actor for Gary Cooper. All the King's Men is another American classic that John Wayne refused to be a part of, and not just because of the politics on the page. The movie is based on Robert Penn Warren's Pulitzer-winning novel about the rise and fall of Willie Stark, a politician who goes from idealist to ruthless, corrupt power player. Robert Rawson was putting together the adaptation and wanted Wayne for the lead role. Wayne wanted nothing to do with it. He didn't like what the film was saying about America. It smears the machinery of government for no purpose of humor or enlightenment, degrades all relationships, and throws acid on the American way of life. Wayne sent the script back to his agent with a warning: "If you ever send me a script like this again, I'll fire you." Ironically, it went on to win the Best Picture Oscar. Broderick Crawford took the lead instead, and not only did he win the Oscar, he beat Wayne to it. Wayne even admitted, "I wouldn't have minded losing so much if anyone else had won." John Wayne absolutely hated Easy Rider. He gave an interview to Playboy in 1971 where he just went off about all these perverted films taking over Hollywood, and Easy Rider was at the top of his list, which is pretty funny considering he's ranting about morality in an adult magazine. Easy Rider was pretty much made to annoy people like John Wayne. You've got Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper as bikers traveling across America, hauling drug money, running into hippies, and getting high constantly. The whole thing is rebellious and experimental. Exactly the kind of movie that would rub a guy like Wayne the wrong way. Wayne had no patience for it. He hated that kind of hedonism and the whole counterculture thing. There wasn't even a real script. Hopper and Fonda made most of it up as they went, filmed on the road, and picked up random people to be in the movie. They were just stoned and drunk most of the time. Jack Nicholson says the campfire scene alone took 155 joints to film. But Easy Rider didn't just piss off Wayne. It ended up in the National Film Registry, and even Quentin Tarantino calls it the single greatest example of 60s cinema. He literally says if you were trying to describe the 60s in terms of movies to someone, you could show them Easy Rider and never have to show them anything else. The other movie Wayne couldn't stand was Midnight Cowboy. In that same Playboy interview, he flat out called it perverted. It's pretty wild now because most people look at Midnight Cowboy as a turning point for American movies. It was a step toward more equal rights and just being honest about people's lives. But for Wayne, it was way too much. Midnight Cowboy was the only X-rated movie to win Best Picture, before it got re-rated as R. You've got Jon Voight as Joe Buck and Dustin Hoffman as Rizzo. Buck's a queer cowboy from Texas trying to make it in New York, and Rizzo is a hustler who tries to help him survive. For the late 60s, this was about as risky as it gets. Even Dustin Hoffman was worried it would ruin his career. His agent actually made him do a safe romantic movie with Mia Farrow right after, just to fix his image. Wayne just wasn't having any of it. He said, "When you think of the wonderful picture fare we've had through the years and realize we've come to this shit, it's disgusting. If they want to continue making those pictures, fine, but my career will have ended. Another movie Wayne couldn't stand was Spielberg's 1941. Back in 1979, Spielberg was still riding high after Jaws and Close Encounters. He reached out to John Wayne for advice and maybe to get him in the cast, since this was going to be a comedy about the Second World War. Wayne took one look at the script and hated it. Spielberg says Wayne called the very next day. He felt it was a very un-American movie and I shouldn't waste my time making it. He said, "You know, that was an important war, and you're making fun of a war that cost thousands of lives at Pearl Harbor. Don't joke about World War II." And Wayne didn't stop there. He called it the most anti-American piece of drivel he had ever read in his life, and he wasn't the only one. 1941 is actually infamous for all the wrong reasons. It's this massive, chaotic farce set in LA right after Pearl Harbor. Spielberg turned the city's wartime panic into slapstick, but people just thought it was loud and unfunny. The film's sitting at 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. Most reviews say it's a mess. Too many ideas, none of them land. The cast is huge, but nobody really gets a moment. Even World War II buffs hated it, calling it terribly acted, not even funny. Spielberg later admitted, "It was like I had committed a war crime because the backlash was that rough." He was basically invincible before this, and 1941 brought him back down to earth.